Hey guys, welcome to Selena Angelica Ye Show. Today we're gonna talk about Yesiyu Zhao's recent show. We will have Pete's friends here. We have Hiba, Anna, Yeqin, and Ho Jae. Unfortunately, Yesiyu cannot be here tonight. He was stuck in Shanghai, due to some weather reason, but let's party.
It was quite a mystery though. I mean, I think he was very secretive almost about the new work, and so it was like a big reveal to see this new body of work for the show in Shanghai.
Yeah, well, 本是 word.
I was pleasantly surprised to see that, because oftentimes when you see new work from an artist that's a complete break from their own work, you're feeling iffy about it and stuff. I was like, well, these are really, I thought they were super energetic.
Incredibly exciting to be able to witness an artist kind of like taking this big leap into a new direction, which I always think is like very brave and exciting. So yeah, I was like really inspired like after that open studio visit. So
I only saw a little bit online, you know, but Mimi here focused charm and tequila.
Really interesting because there's the cyborgs and the characters, but the paintings are made in a very painterly way, which you can see in the images, but you can't really see the strokes until you're face to face with the painting.
I really love the in-your-faceness of the paintings. Like the references are so just like, here it is, here's a cyborg, like here is a family tree, here is like gravity.
And I was saying there's like an emotional context which you feel when you're in the room with art. And
there's a lot that's happening on the painting, and I actually think a lot of analogies, metaphors, and different icons that he put in, I think actually created a lot of layer building. And I also really love his use of like cyborgs and sci-fi. That's been used like very directly in this series, because when you watch a really good sci-fi movie or read a great like sci-fi text, it's not only about the character itself, but it's also about the world building, right? In order to describe a character and who he or she or they represent, the author has to create context. And I think to fulfill that, I think Yesiyu really created a whole world. Each painting has different assemblages of architecture.
It's interesting to cast the robots in a very intimate light. Domestic scenes, love stories, and just crossing over from like, I guess like robots, whatever that might mean, into just humanness, and where does that line blur? And I feel like a lot of these paintings,
Figure is not just a single figure, but like it's a representation of a lot of different things.
although there's so many clear like signals and stories being told, there's so much blurring happening at the same time. And it's really exciting, and that really draws me into, because I'm trying to draw this to this, but then this is getting wiped off, and then this is coming to view over here.
I agree with you in that I really love this new approach to his art making and composing, because like not only is it timeless because there's so many details that you have to keep coming back to look at it, but also just I think as like a theme, like a sci-fi theme, I think it goes.
I really felt like there's like this sort of a questioning of what it means to be human almost within these artworks. That was a really sort of an interesting duality that happened. Such painterly work, but like such a unique concept.
Would you say its work differ from his previous work, because he was pretty sexually charged before?
yes, he feels like more confident. Yeah. And it's a lot more focused in like what the person. This was like most personal body of work that I've seen from him.
I mean, I think as an extension of like the previous bodies of work, that is still sexual, but I think in a more nuanced way.
I felt a lot of compassion for the characters in the painting. They're sort of making their way through life. They're being shown in these intimate situations, but the viewpoint seems very like tender almost, even with the art historical references like Nightmare and
I feel like whereas in the previous bodies of work, like I kind of grasped that he just wants to talk about sexuality and identity. I think in this recent series, we started to grasp like what about sexuality and identity. I think Cyborg as a representation of like of the artist's identity, I think it's a great icon. It always revered like a single perfect being as like the representation of humanity. But if you think about it, actually, like rather than a singular perfect being, like monsters like manticores, Frankenstein, and these imperfect beings, and all the different things that I have chosen to read and love. My ontology is not from a single source, but it's from multiple places. And similarly, robots or cyborg are beings that are put together or built from multiple parts. So I think like I like that you are kind of like creating like redemption, or like you're highlighting imperfect beings that are built up of stuff. In a way, like paintings or religion or stories, in a way like you are revering a hero figure. But if the hero figure is like a like perfect being, you can't relate to him, like even if you even if you love the story, like we're kind of detached, and like there's something where we cannot become that hero figure. But in these paintings, like on a level, I can understand that I too am an imperfect cyborg. It becomes not only a way for Yesiyu to talk about himself, but I think like a good book, it also becomes an open point of view for other people. Like it can also like it can embody not only the artist's narrative, but also it becomes a point of access for a lot of other audiences too.
And when I think about cyborgs, I don't think about perfect or imperfect. It's like I think about like hardware and software. It's like the hardware is the thing that is the finished product, and then the software is when you like update and download. And I think of these paintings with the cyborg representation is pretty universal, and then it's also very specific. Like I feel that, you know, in the same way that Ho Jae said, oh, we're still an amalgamation, we're made of all these things, but then the software is really like who our friends are, and like where the culture we are and how we're embedded in it, and then that's changes our operating system essentially, right? So then you move around the world in a different way, and it questions culture, because it doesn't have to be like the software could change, but the hardware is what it is, unless you know you could manipulate it now to a certain degree. But
would you be interested one day you could be modify yourself?
I wouldn't know what that means. It's too far.
I think of it on more like a metaphorical level, because like there are people out there who like won't update themselves to say that like they live with a very like fixed point of view, and they choose not to open themselves up to new ideas or new experiences, versus there are people who are more open, and then upon new experiences they will update their software and understand that their knowledge is not complete and there are other things to be learned, right? And I think I mean like software update in that more like human level. Like we are continuously learning, and through our experiences we will become more as we live, right?
So looking at the theory, what makes a perfection or human?
Right? There can't be like one defined.
Where your point of reference is.
Yeah.
I feel like the perfection is a human. It's like such a constant. I don't want to use the word struggle, because like I want to think of it in a positive.
Or like aspire.
Moving one step in front of the other here. Trying to be better and better again, or trying to be more yourself sometimes is, or being okay with being yourself is like part of that, because if you're self-critical in any way, or you've been injured or hurt in any way, then there's like a shutting down of who you truly are.
是格朗诗 from my perspective, that in Yesiyu sword I think think some kind of perfection about accepting imperfection. these narrations, because you're never gonna be someone you're not. Just this tenderness of feeling connects to my interior inside of this.
You had that green skin.
And this green skin.
You know, as an artist, like sometimes I have really great ideas, and I'm like, this is gonna be like a great painting, and I try to draw it out, and in the moment like the idea is put onto a piece of paper or canvas, like it's not as great as it used to be. And I think in a very like platonic sense, like I think like ideas in a way are divine and like they're great, and it is almost like us trying to, it's like we're like endeavoring to like recreate these immaterial yet perfect thoughts in our reality, right? And all of a sudden our ideas have to, you know, like work in our reality, like with its gravity, like with its color and different kinds of theories, and in a way like maybe like we can never achieve that perfection, like maybe we can never achieve the divineness of perfection, but regardless, I think the pursuit of that perfection, we strive to like be perfect and live to our ideals. We fail, but yet there's beauty in that, and I think through those processes we actually create something that's beautiful, like art.
It depends on the philosophy of how you work. I'm like learning as in my own art process. As someone who's like really interested in Buddhism, like, you know, the Buddha would be a perfect being. It's attained enlightenment, has reached perfection, right? That's kind of what the definition is. But in order to do that, you know, they are focusing on very extreme ideas, but they're constantly zooming out, right? Which is why, like in Buddhist lexicons, it's like multiverses and universes zooming out, and in doing so, like there's an idea of perfection. And then, you know, the Buddha's like, just take the middle path, like everything is okay. So like it just folds in on itself as well.
Do you think that's kind of like a guideline for life, like your students kind of hope? In the end, you ultimately trying to reach it, but yeah, for individually you have different path. Along the way, you have your little mistakes, and you bow somewhere. Then that's perfect in the end, as you like, become a whole story.
There's like this moment, right, when you're in this flow state and you are like completely connected and you're in the zone. And as an artist, like, live for that. That is like a moment of perfection. And then like you expect your whole life to be like that. It's not. It's only when you're in the studio.
But I think it's like those moments that make it.
Yeah.
Is there particular moments or things that you guys like your favorite in this body work?
She's just like this commanding, I don't know, figure, half cyber, half cat, sitting on what I imagine is a man, like unapologetic. Yeah, she feels very strong, and I think a lot of like our historical paintings where women are kind of, portraits of women are a lot more like demure or kind of like a subject from the male gaze. And
I'm taking all the paintings, and because I love the backgrounds, there's so many details and stories, and I get lost in them. It's like each painting is like a novel. There's just so much going on. For example, the Nightmare one has the Little Mermaid, and then there's like the watermelon that's a charger. So many, yes.
everything's so considered.
I like the curtains in your paintings. One glimpse on the curtain, like so it both becomes a world that exists, but also it becomes a play or a story. Like the curtains make it look like a story that was built with a desire to tell us something.
You think you like Mistress?
Yeah. Although, you know, I kept wondering like why, and I always wanted to be a mistress. But I think the gaze is also very direct in that painting, and it's like the colors, the colors in this painting are like, I think the baby cat's gaze is like more direct in some ways.
The slash painting. is it our historical reference, the Lucio Fontana?
Yeah, it's hard to sometimes explain why.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm drawn to it.
yeah.